Wow. Thank you. Thank you for coming. This is my first words I wanted to tell you. Thank you for inviting me also. So I wanted to talk about a little about my journey. Actually, I was my journey preparing this uh, PowerPoint and planning what to do, what to say, because I can talk for hours, but at the same time, I get very nervous to talk about, and also at the same time, when I feel nervous, I create a lot of thoughts inside of my. So it's between trying to handle my emotions and trying to quiet my thoughts and and allow myself to create something good for me and for all of you also. Um, it's funny because when I started to prepare, I was trying to select information about something, a topic that is a very um, it's a topic that is difficult to talk because there it is. Sorry. It's it's a topic that is difficult to talk because we talk about the brain, and it's a neuroscience. So it's something that I have been studying for the last 12 years. I am passionate about some area of the brain, then it is the emotional brain and the cognitive brain. And this is what I am here to try to share with you some information about how our brain work. And, and yeah, here we go, rounded. Uh, how my journey start when I was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I was like I was trying to find a new path in my life, and suddenly Kundalini yoga came to my life. It's a beautiful practice. I have to say that I did a practice for many years, and I still practice. I use it as a tool in my toolbox. I have it when I need it, but I'm very connected still with yoga, Kundalini. Um, Kundalini is a practice that is helping you to find a new way of living life. And and when I started to practice and I commit myself for to do that practice early in the morning, every day for many years, I remember the first year I was like seeing this practice and having all these sensations in my body that I couldn't understand from where I was feeling that I was connecting with God, something that this is what they say in Kundalini, you open yourself to the world and you are connecting with this spiritual world that, and I was like, every time when I was finishing my practice, I went out of to the street and I was like, feeling super grateful of everything, connecting with everything, with my body, with my daughter, with my family, with life. I was full of love and I was being part of this nature and I was like, so I was like, God is with me. So I was feeling this feeling for many years, not for many years, but for a year, for many months. And I was like, in Kundalini, they teach us that when we have a snake here in one of the plate of the spine, that when the snake wake up, it's going up through your spine, through all the chakras, until arrive here in the seventh chakra. Yeah, and when arrive here in the seventh chakra, you open your chakra and you are connecting with this universe. So your subconscious is connecting with this beautiful universe, and you start to see your own history of life, things that you don't see in the conscious life, things that is only in the memories, but you're not aware of this. And I was feeling that the snake, every time I was like, wow, the snake is waking up, because actually it's like unconnected. I didn't, well, I will talk about this after, but I was like, but how the snake can be inside of myself? I I was super curious about how the snake, no, anyway, when you do practice or when you have these philosophies in life, they have this spiritual way of seeing. But also, they like to talk about that, but also they don't talk so much. And there where I open up my curiosity about how human body work and how our brain work. So I was like, okay, come on, if I am feeling connecting with love, if I am feeling gratefulness, if I am feeling connecting with something bigger than me, it is because the snake is here inside of me, or it is because something is working inside of myself. So I went to see and to study. I opened up my curiosity, and I went to learn about how my body worked with meditations, how my body worked with doing sport, how my body worked with practicing every day with my body, how my body worked with like singing with mantras or with breathing pranayama every day. So I found that all this connection I have with love and all this connection I have with my internal self, it was because my brain was sending information to my body to release hormones. Dopamine, the hormones of happiness and love, endorphins, serotonin. So I thought that was a snake. Probably it's a beautiful history. It could be. But how my body was working and how my brain was reacted was something that I got hooked and fascinated. So every time when I was sitting there in my practice, I was like pushing myself in a good way, not pushing, but feeling, connecting myself with these hormones I can release inside of my brain. So it's helping me to find and see the world in different way. So one day I remember that I was sitting there after many months of practice, and suddenly something strange happened. I saw myself like going out of me, and I was watching myself from here. I was sitting there and I was watching myself. I started to turn around, and I was watching myself turning around, and actually a lot of memories start to come to myself when I was a kid. So I got super scared, I have to say. I got happy because finally probably my seventh chakra was open. But I wasn't prepared for that, probably. So when I finished my practice, I remember my curiosity. I said, okay, come on, something is going on here. It's my seventh chakra. This snake went to the top. But no. Searching and investigate and study, I found that we have something called pineal gland that everybody has. So when we bring ourselves to commit in something like practice like meditating or pranayama, that is breathing exercise, or using your body, or the signs of nat, that is the movement of the tongue inside of your mouth, you can activate this pineal gland. And the pineal gland has a hormone called DMT. It's our psychedelic drugs that everybody can release. DMT, I don't know if have you heard about ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is a natural drug that you can take from Amazon or from Latin America, Peru, that you can cook, and the Aboriginal people was doing it to try to connect themselves with the spirituals, and they open the subconscious. It's pure DMT. So human beings have this possibility to, through practice, to sit down and to commit yourself. I using a lot that word, commitment, to release these psychedelic drugs. So this is the way that you can open your seventh chakra and you can work with your subconscious and see your history of life. And anyway, that was my first journey to try to see how our brain works. So I was fascinated about. So I said, come on, this is my first touch of something that I really would like to continue to study. So after this, I went to Coactive Coach came to me. It's a beautiful methodology that we work with ourselves and with this subconscious and conscious brain. And there I have an amazing topic that I have two wonderful teachers. One is called Daniel Goleman, and he's talking about EQ, emotional intelligence. And the other one was Lupe's Spanish teacher. They talk about emotions. So when I was there in the classroom and they start to talk about emotions, I see myself super connected with that topic. So when I finished my education with Coactive, I decided to go to specialize myself in emotions. And there I found this two brain that we have, our emotional brain and our cognitive brain. So this is what I have been doing for the last 6-7 years. A study about this two brain, and this is something that I want to share with you, how our brain work, because it's probably that for me nobody teach me. And probably it's a new topic for you because it's difficult to find in a school to talk about emotions. Here we go again. So, to understand better, I want to explain a little about how the brain grows. This is the brain that all of us has. We have this reptilian brain, and was the first brain. That it is a brain that doesn't think and doesn't feel. It is a brain that is a programming brain that is helping us to the functions of some organs, for example, the heart, the stomach, for living. That's it. This is the brain that we share with reptilian brain. So this is the important things is like they make the functions of the organs inside. After this, the brain grow, and we went to the second brain grow, and it's called limbic brain. It's known as an emotional brain. Here is the brain that generate and manage the emotions. Develop two wonderful tools, that is the memory and the learning. Yeah? And the brain continued to grow, and this area of the brain, this big area of the brain, is called neocortex brain. This is the last growing of the brain. This is the brain is known as a thinking brain. This is the brain that have helped us to conquer the world, to create technology, to think, to reflect, to analyze. So all these three brain is working together all the time. But right now, I wanted to talk to you about this limbic brain and the neocortex brain. So here, so I will talk about emotions that is created in the limbic brain, in the second brain. Emotion is automatic reaction, yeah? To help us to move forward. For example, if I have a tiger that is coming, I will feel fear. If I don't have fear, the tiger will eat me. So if the tiger comes, hi. If the tiger comes, fear will come to me. I don't have control of the emotions, so fear will react by itself, and it will help me to run away. So what happens with the emotions? Emotions are activated with something that is internal or external. Internal can be like your thoughts, mental image, and external can be somebody that, a people, a place, situations that can create emotions of you. So you don't have any controls about your emotion because they can be activated right away like this for internal or external situations. How do you feel the emotions? The emotions have two ways of feeling. First, when you feel the emotions, you feel in the body. Second, thoughts. Third, the action, run away. So if I have, for example, emotions, fear, for example, I don't know if you have fear, you have some accident or something had happened to you, then you feel it in the body right away. So thoughts will come. So when a thought is a feeling, this is something that I wanted to explain before I continue, but it's good to know. The difference between emotions and feeling is that the emotion you feel in the body is something that you physiological, only in the body. And when you bring the emotion and you put a name in the emotion, that is a feeling. So this is the difference between emotions and feeling, because the feeling have the thought and the emotion is only the sensations in the body. Yeah? So I want to talk about this limbic brain. This is the component of the limbic brain. The limbic brain is created, have all these areas, but I wanted to talk about this amygdala brain that is inside of the limbic brain. The amygdala, it is a limbic structure. This small thing is here that have a shape of an almond. It's responsible for the learning and the memory of the brain. Yeah? Is responsible for perceiving the emotional significance of each experience. So, when you were a kid, probably we have a lot of experience when we were a kid. And that experience has a small emotional significance, small or big emotional significance. So we keep that feeling inside of this area, amygdala. Yeah? So it says some kind of a storage of emotional impressions, of memories that we keep here in the limbic brain. So it's something that when I talk to you in the start, I say the limbic brain develop the memory and develop the learning. The memory is storage there in that area of the brain. So what happened? I'm getting a little nervous, but I need to go down. So what happened? How the amygdala work? When the signal come to you through the sense. So the sense is all the time like searching for the signals for something. The sense is helping us. So the signal comes to inside through the sense. So the amygdala explore every experience is happening. Yeah, trying to search from where is the problem, all the time. So the amygdala is some kind of soldier inside of our brain. So searching all the time to find, challenge the situation, and asking, this situation is happening in the present, is something that I hate? This situation is happening in the present, is something that it hurt me? This situation is happening in the present, is something that I feel fear? So the amygdala have the function to explore the situation in the present and comparing that situation with the experience that happened to you in the past, because have the function of the memory. So the amygdala compare the present with your past experience. So what happened? When a small element is similar, a small element, the experience is happening in the present, is similar to the experience happening in the past, the amygdala activate. Papu, papu, alarm in all the brain. All the emotions, especially the fear and the fighting. The strong emotion we have to try to defend ourselves. Because the amygdala have sent the information to the brain. Something is going on here. The situation is happening in the present is similar to the history in the past. So you have to react. react now because you will feel exactly the same than what you have been feeling in the past. So the only problem of this structure called amygdala is that it has an inconvenient that in the oldest past when the tiger came to us, of course was a very functional structure because it's helping us to run away. But right now, in the world we are living right now, we don't have the tiger around us. So all the time, the amygdala is searching to asking all these questions. This is something that I hate. This is something that makes me feel fear. This is something that I am scared. And seeing the present with the glasses of the past. So we analyze in the present all the time with our own experience of the past. So that is the complication of this structure, of this area of the brain. So when the amygdala activates the alarm, of course, all these emotions, destroy emotions come. So as I told you, the amygdala evaluates the present with all our past emotions experience. And that is the complexity. So, and also the complexity is because we don't have control about that. We cannot say to the amygdala, turn off. You can, it's part of yourself. So what to do? When we have a so complex area of our brain that I cannot turn it off. It will be there. This is our subconscious. So also, we don't have control because we cannot see it. We only can feel it. But we react because we are feeling it. So this is something that I work with my client. So when I talk to my client, I like to talk about this emotional area of the brain and the things I have been talking to you about, the emotions that we have two ways, the complexity of the amygdala, and also how the limbic brain it is, but also the complexities of our own emotions, then our emotions will be always there. So we cannot change that. So how we learn to create relation with that. So now I wanted to talk about this side of the brain. It's called the neocortex brain, the thinking brain. That when the emotions is activated, right away we activate a thought. Probably will be a negative thought. If the emotion is a love or happiness, probably will be a positive thought. But I would like to talk about more the negative thought. Yeah, the negative emotions that in the emotions that probably we are constantly living right now in the world we are living, because we have so many so many external input that bring our emotions like, and of course our thoughts are much more connected in the negative thought. So now I wanted to talk about this area of the and I don't want to continue to move there because I get a little nervous about the neocortex brain. It is the brain of the thinking brain. It's the brain that is helping us to develop the world we are living right now. But also it's a super complex brain because it has the function of to think. I have something super beautiful here that we forget about. You don't think. We think that we think. But the one who thinks is our brain. And the brain does it in the same naturalness that the heart pumps blood, because it's an organ. If I ask you what is the function of the lungs, probably you will say to me right away, it's to breathe. What is the function of the stomach is to process the food. But what is the function of the brain? One of the functions, because it has many functions, but what is the function of the brain? It's to think. So our brain will always think. It's the brain thinking, it's not you. This is the thing that is difficult to remember. So when you have experienced a situation of life, in the present moment, right away the brain is sending to you a proposal. an idea, what it could be the experience. The brain, in seconds, trying to find similar situation, association of things, thought is for you. So you believe that this is the reality. This is your reality. Because it's helping you to create the reality around you. Without thought, you will be living in some kind of like blackness, without meanings. So, experience of life, right away the brain, it will send to you a proposal, an idea about this situation. But also, right away, emotion will trigger. So this is a relation between this brain all the time, the limbic brain and the neocortex brain. And if the experience is a super strong experience, the amygdala will be activated. So the amygdala will close the neocortex brain. So you will react without thinking. I don't know if you have had the experience and you have been reacting like, without, out of control. It's because the amygdala have been sending the information to the brain, to the full brain, and have been closing the thinking brain. So you, instead of like think and after to react, you have been reacting with the full emotion, hitting, screaming, running away. So this is when the amygdala is activated. But our emotion is all the time activated, so our thought is also all the time activated. So here is something that I have been learning through my own path, that this is something that I will not never stop. I cannot turn it off. So what to do? Because it's also something that you have in your brain. It's there in your library, because you have been creating all these thoughts through your experience of life, through something genetic, through your past, through your future expectations. So what to do if I realize that my brain will generate always thought? I learn to create relation with my thought. Instead of trying to push it down or think positive, think positive, think positive. No. I open myself to understand that my brain is thinking, and to separate my think from the thought. So I learn to observe the thought and to choose which thought I want to use from this present situation or from this present experience. And it's exactly the same with emotions, because emotion is also involuntary. It will happen always. It will be there to try to help you to survive. So instead of like, I need to feel love, I need to think positive, so I will feel good. Allow them to be there and embrace them also. We have a very lazy brain. Our brain doesn't want to change. Our brain loves to learn, but doesn't want to change because we like to live in the comfort zones. To change, the brain needs a judgment. And nobody wants to adjust yourself. The brain doesn't want to change. It's super complex for them to change. So because already have all this luggage of thoughts and all this luggage of memories and learning, so it's super complicated for them. So again, when I see this image, I separate myself from the brain, and I learn to create relation with the brain. And this is what I have been doing for the last years. Instead of feeling that I am the brain, no, I separate myself from the brain, and I develop and beautiful tools that we have that is extraordinary, that is our body. This machine that everybody has is a tool that you can use for to try to help your brains to balance. Our brain, or my brain, for my own history of life, we try to tend to think always in negative. So through Kundalini and through other practice, and I have been doing it, I learned that the way I have been helping my brain to be connected with the emotion of love, releasing endorphin, I learned that practicing with my body, I release serotonin, endorphin, the hormone of love. So when I release endorphin, I was connecting with love. And when I was connecting with love, right away my thought was positive. So instead of like pushing myself, think positive, think positive, think positive, I was using my body for releasing hormones. So my emotions was love, happiness, joy, without trying to convince myself. No, I was pushing myself through it. And my thought was more in balance. I was seeing life in a different way. Life was the same. You cannot change the way you cannot change the world, but you can change the way you see the world. So I was using this area of the body, doing sport, helped me to release hormones inside. Meditating helped me to, we have a system in the body that is called parasympathetic system and the limbic system, and the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. The sympathetic system is a system that we have inside of ourselves that is also, you don't have a control about that, that is helping you to move. When the tiger comes, your sympathetic system, stress, the cortisol is going inside, and you run away. So it's the system that is helping you to react when you have a stress. In the world we are living right now, we are full of stress. So our sympathetic system is all the time activated. We have the other system called parasympathetic system that is helping you to balance the sympathetic system. But in the world we are living right now, the sympathetic system is all the time, 24 hours a day, activated. So our parasympathetic system cannot help the sympathetic system. In the old time, when the monkeys, we didn't have so much stress outside, only was the tiger, that was our maximum stress. But now, no. So our sympathetic system is all the time here, so our cortisol, the hormone of stress, is all the time also here. So how we can help our parasympathetic system to activate it? Meditations, practice yoga was one of my way of trying to find this, activate this parasympathetic system. And also when you activate parasympathetic system, of course, whew, you are connecting with more joy. So our emotions here, joy, happiness, love, are activated because you are helping yourself to activate this parasympathetic system, and the sympathetic system go down. The cortisol hormone is also go down, so you are there. So what happened with this is activated. Our thought is also being activated in a positive way. What else I was doing until now I do it in my practice? Sleeping. We forget that the human being need to sleep. We are super connecting. We're going home, we continue to work, or we're going home and we are like connecting with our like tablets or reading or watching TV or being in technology, Instagram or Facebook. I do too. But I'm much more conscious right now in my life to try to sleep 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day minimum. Because when you sleep and you bring your body to rest, your parasympathetic system will be activated. So it means that our cortisol will go down, your emotions will activate it, your thought, it will be more clear. What else? And sharing with you my toolbox, doing sport, meditating, sleeping, but also how we can help ourselves for to calm this active brain that we have. Being with friends, being with family. When you are socializing with your first layer or your second layers of friends, first layer is the family, second layer is the friends. You're releasing hormones inside. Hormones that, here we go again, helping our brain to calm. Giving hug to somebody. When my brain is activating, I go to my daughter and I hug her. Because hug is something that calms your brain. Help. If I ask you, how do you feel when you help somebody? You feel great or no? Doesn't matter, you open the door to somebody somebody that is carrying a lot of things and you decided to open the door. Or when you give food people in the street. Or when you help people. Automatically your brain will send information to your body to release hormone. So what happened? You will feel good. And that feeling of feeling good is a sensation. And your thought will be different. Gratefulness. Everybody wants to feel grateful. Gratefulness is a tool that human being has. I feel grateful for everything what I have. It's super easy to say. But to really feel it, it's a long way between saying and feel it. When you feel it, you feel it. When you say it, when you feel it and you say it, this saying is like, oh, I feel grateful for this moment being here. But when you say for say, you don't feel it. It's just you want to be polite and kind and say, yeah, I'm super grateful to be here. But grateful is a sensation that you sometimes can have. It's like the kid when have candy on Friday, sometimes they can have candy. Gratefulness also is a feeling, a sensation that you sometimes can have, but you have to work for it. It is emotions, and you also needed to work hard to feel it, because it's connecting with this happening emotions. When you feel in love, I feel in love of my daughter, but sometimes I don't feel in love of her because she makes me feel angry. But many times I have this moment of like, it's a feeling. And also that feeling is helping me to relax my mind. Compassion. Empathy. Compassion is also a beautiful emotion that we can develop and to try to help to calm our mind. It's a tool, then we have it. That probably not so many people know about that. But when you work to try to develop your compassion, it's an extraordinary tool that is emotion, that is helping you to calm your brain. What is the difference between joy and happiness? Everybody wants to feel happy. I want to feel happy forever. But can you imagine to feel happy forever? It will be boring, or not? We need these black emotions to try to help us to grow, to develop ourselves. But happiness, when you feel happiness is the difference between joy and happiness. That joy is a short feeling sensation, but happiness is a long sensation. When you want to create happiness in your life, you have to start to create joy, moments of joy in your life. Because if you create a moment of joy, you will be creating happiness in your life. So study for joy if you want to go for happiness. What else I wanted to talk about emotions? And then to try to, I don't know if I am in time, um, when I was a kid, nobody talked to me about emotions, so I didn't have also the vocabulary to express what I feel. I knew the basic emotions like fear, I feel anger, but nobody explained to me that we have a spectrum of thousands of emotions. So for me, it was super complicated to express myself, and probably for a lot of people, it's happening the same. So when we learn the vocabulary to express what we really feel, is something that is helping us to go through life with the truth of what it is. Because actually we get a vocabulary of expressing what we feel. And this is something that we are very lack as a human being. We are lacking that. Because we always try to express or to tell to people what I feel, but we never go deep. Because one, we are scared to feel rejected, or two, because we don't have the vocabulary to express. So when we don't have the vocabulary to express what we really feel, it's also super complicated for people to understand us. And there also it creates some kind of like confusion between your thoughts and your emotions. Because probably you believe that you are feeling that, but no, maybe you are not feeling that. So you activating some different thoughts. I know that it's a little complicated to understand that, but my word here is to learn to have the vocabulary of to express yourself. We are living in a world right now that is super complicated, and we feel fear all the time. We feel fear and we feel anger, and fear also to express ourselves. Go deep. Try to know yourself. Try to create your toolbox of tools that you can use in moments of life, an experience of life. Because, again, in the world we are living right now is a world that our brain is 24-hour screaming, could be the word, or non-calm. Our brain is not calm. So we need to create tools to try to help our brain to calm. I cannot tell you, you have to do this, meditate, or run, or go to do sport, or eat healthy, or sleeping. I can share with you what has been good for me. You have to find your own path. Because him or she, in my case, and she, is super complex. And you will not turn it on, off. It will be always all the time. So it's better to ask yourself, okay, come on, how I can help my brain? How I can help my thought? How I can help my emotions? How I can activate happy emotions to create more positive thought. That is a path that you have to do. I can recommend you many things to do it, but I cannot push you. So when I say here, a small revolution to grow, it's talking about things that you can do, from giving a hug, from develop the compassion, for develop empathy, for develop gratefulness, for develop your practice every morning, for to the word in English is recommend you actually to do a practice, to create a habit. Then you can relate yourself every time that you have like super active mind. And use your body Our body is our extraordinary tools that everybody has. We have the same brain. We have the same body. You have to make the change because your brain will not make the change. Already you have all these libraries with all your own experience. It will never change. Your past, it was your past. You cannot change the past. So it's already there in the library. So the brain is seeing this world with your own library that you cannot change. So how we help our beautiful brain? That's it. I don't know what else to say. I got a little nervous, I have to say. I was confused, I was nervous, I was like, I went to this negative thought. I was like talking to you, and at the same time, my brain was telling me like, you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. I was like, no, be quiet, please be quiet. But I tried to manage anyway. Sorry if I was a little nervous, and anyway, I am here.
So anyone have a question?
Uh,
I don't know if I had a
Ca-
very formulated questions, but probably it was very interesting what you share, and I was thinking at the same time, filling the gap in my mind. Everything you were saying, I was filling the gap, like things that I know had helped me to train my brain emotionally because I don't feel all the time happy or joyous, and like you said, sometimes I feel angry,
mhm,
and then I need to train my brain how to reuse that energy. Not say, I should not say to my body, don't use anger. No,
No.
you say, you feeling anger. That's a
Mhm.
reaction of your body.
mhm,
How you can transform that energy,
mhm,
that emotion, that energy emotion, how you can transform it in a positive way.
mm,
So I've been little by little training my my body in my brain. When I feel anger, how I will reuse that energy instead of say don't have that energy. No, is an energy. It's free energy. Use it. And that was more than a question. Was like I was
Your
while
experience.
listening to you, I
Mm,
was just filling that
mm,
gap in my brain,
mm,
right?
mm,
And I remember some time in my life because I didn't have so much vocabulary in my cortex about emotions. I remember me finding in internet the wheel of the feeling,
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's
emotional
beautiful.
feelings,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
It's a
that
spectrum
wheel
of
is spectrum
many emotions.
helped me to
Yeah.
when in the morning when I wake up and I say, oh, today I'm feeling like this,
Mm,
and I start that conversation with myself.
yeah, it's
So
amazing.
that's
It's
two
wonderful.
observations that I was feeling in my
Ah.
own mind when I was listening to you. Amazing story.
You know,
Thank you.
my best running, I love to run. And my best running, when you run, of course, you run against the time. Because the time, if you say today, I wanted to go for a run. If I wanted to, yesterday I ran, I don't know, 10 kilometers and, I don't know, 20 minutes. Today I wanted to run in 19. So you run against the time. So you have somebody like running, but it's the time. So my best running and my best time is when I feel anger. So, for example, I have been like fighting with somebody, or discussing with my daughter, or discussing with my husband. I'm going to run, having this feeling of anger. Of course, it's releasing all this energy inside. So my best time in running is when I have a discussion, or I have a strong emotion inside of me, like 30 minutes before. So this is the way. Then, and after my running, of course, I came to my house with phew, amazing smile, calm to talk. But also, I was releasing all these beautiful hormones that we have inside, and people also doesn't have the knowledge. And you can release dopamine, you can release endorphin, you can release serotonin, you can release adrenaline if you want. And that hormone we have is as a tools in our size for to calm the mind, calm the brain. So this is one of the things also, I don't know if I told you, when I learned all this about how our brain works, this area, because the brain have many areas than I don't know so much, but these two areas of the brain, when I learned about this one, was much easy for me to navigate. So now I can separate myself from the brain. So every situation I have, like that activates strong emotions, I can right away step back and I say, okay, come on, separate. What is the thought here? What is emotion here? The neocortex is sending to me this proposal to react and to think this way. It is real. And see the present with my history from the back. Yeah, probably yes, I see it because this is the things I have been like storage in my library. But if I bring it to the present, it is necessary to see this situation with my history of the past? No, I don't need it anymore. So I detach myself also from my own history. So I break in patterns and I break in learning that I have been doing for years and years because of my history. So one of the things I learned is to bring the neuroscience to my life. Because we think that we think the way we think, and we feel the way we feel, and everything is like, this is the way we are. No, everything has a why behind. You were the way you were for a reason, because this is the way you are built. You cannot go against that. But you can do one thing, to create relation. This is the only things we can do. Create relation with your friends, and it's your mind. And give a hug, touch, give love. It always will be like this. Be your friend, bring it as a friend, but separate yourself from the brain, because the brain is the brain and you are you. And this is something that not so many people are aware about this. The function of the brain will be always to think and to feel, because we create emotions in the brain. So learn about how you work as a human being. This is something that, oh my God, it creates like a breathing. So instead of feeling that this is me, no, this is not me. This is my brain. It's reacting like this. So yes. I don't know if somebody has a question. No.
Yeah, I think the whole process is a bit complicated,
Super.
because I'm totally not where you are, my friend. So just when I wake up in the morning, the feeling I have is coffee deprivation, and that's it. So then I have to work on it not to make it a problem.
But that is a belief also, because you think that you need the coffee, or you don't work with it.
Don't mess with my brain now,
Yeah.
it's mine. So no, but there's another thing that I have noticed that kind of works, but I don't know to what goal in the end. When I'm like in a really extreme mood, like extremely depressed or extremely angry, or just like sad about the state that the world is in, which is not so hard to do these days, then I get in a situation where I start asking, okay, what on earth is happening right now? Why don't I get out of it? And I noticed that the question, why don't I get out of it, is not helping. So I noticed that the question, how do I feel right now? No? Why do I feel like this right now?
Wonderful.
That is something that is helping me, but that is also something that is very hard for me, just speaking about me here, for me to keep in mind that it would be a good idea when I am in the situation. So I constantly find myself in a situation where I'm very close to despair about something, and with a bit of luck, at some point I realized, okay, maybe it's time to step back and just like take this outside perspective and see what's going on with you right now. So
It's wonderful.
and if you have anything that helps me getting into that mode quicker, or realizing it, or memorizing that this is your thing to do now, yeah, I would be very grateful about that.
It's a beautiful quote, and I say to people, is like, you cannot change the world around you, but you can change the way you see it. This is the only thing you can do it. If you have experience, the only things the situation will be the same, will be there, but it's the way you see the situation, and this is something that you need to train. Yeah. I don't know if take it as advice, but I have had this situation many times. But again, I'm teaching people to use their body, because the moment that you use your body, right away you will release all these beautiful hormones that we have inside. And the way after you're releasing this hormone, the way you see the situation will be completely different. So the only things I advising to people is like, move yourself, move your body, whatever you do, climbing, dancing, meditating, move your body. The body is an extraordinary tool to right away make you to think different and to see things different. Because you are releasing hormones. So again, as I say to you, you have the hormones with you all the time. You are in charge of the hormone. The only person that can help you to release the hormone is you. Move yourself, move yourself, move yourself, because you right away, you will see the situation in a different way. I don't know if you can answer your question. I can say to you, think positive, or yeah, but still, this is the world we're living right now. Then everybody wants to think positive, think positive. Nah, you will not think positive. Your brain will be always thinking negative. Sorry to say. So, instead of try to change the thought, make a relation with the thought. And one of the ways to make relation with the thought, okay, move my body, because I know I will release hormones, and right away I will feeling better, and I can get and start to see, and I can create better relation with my thought. Well, you can use it.
What do you mean when you say make a relation with a thought? I have no problem making relations with my thought, but usually that's just anger or hate. So I'm not happy that a certain thought is there. So what is there to relate to or with? No, what do we do now? So no, the thing is, a relation, or you say relate to the thought, build a relation with the thought. I don't really understand what that means, or what you are suggesting to do there.